It's almost game time at Southwest University Park. El Paso Locomotive FC hosting Detroit City FC. USL Championship soccer is headed your way next. Welcome here inside the broadcast booth at Southwest University Park. I'm Duke Keith, joined by KTSM Sports Director Colin Deaver, and a full week of soccer here in El Paso, Texas. It has been very busy, but Locomotive is about to wrap things up, and a big one in store. It's not the start Locomotive wanted, Colin, but there were some bright signs against Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
Yeah, unfortunately, back-to-back losses for El Paso to open the season last Saturday to Sacramento, then Wednesday versus Colorado Springs. But you saw El Paso in that second half start to look like what Brian Claerhout wants them to look like. And unfortunately, 3 matches in 7 days, the legs kind of ran out from underneath them in the last 15 minutes of that Colorado Springs loss. But much improved, right, in that first 30 minutes of that second half. He highlighted as much in his post-game press conference. They're hoping that they can continue that tonight, what they started in that second half versus Colorado Springs.
Claerhout and Locomotive FC have got to be very, very pleased with the way things are going. He did mention to us that he does not want to concede 3 goals in 2 matches. He takes full responsibility for the results. He wants his group to be tough to break down, and tough on the offensive side. That was a point of emphasis after Colorado Springs.
Absolutely, and you know, it's something that they will have to be better at. They were tight in those midfield spots, those defensive spots. It was just moments of breakdown for Locomotive FC, right? Just moments in the early portion of the first half and then late in the game that didn't allow them to win the match.
Great goal by Ricardo Zacarias, though, and tonight's opponent, Detroit FC, coming off a loss last Saturday on the road to San Diego Loyal. In that one, Loyal's Jackson Casanze had one at his feet, hit it hard to the back of the net. Detroit City would have a few looks, but nothing really working for them. Ultimately, a 1-0 loss on the road.
Yeah, unfortunately, a tough match for them, right? Flying across the country as part of the USL's interconference play. Locomotive learned just how difficult that can be last year. Detroit coming over a couple different time zones now and a full day of travel. They were able to get a little bit of a workout in late Friday night here in El Paso. Look for both of these teams to try and set the tone early. This is one of the best defensive teams from last year, Detroit City FC. So we'll see what Locomotive can do as they try to get to the victory. Detroit City knowing how tough road matches can be.
We'll head to break with an aerial look at the iconic Flames intro for El Paso Locomotive. Last home match in March, the Locos are looking to get a big win tonight. Locomotive FC versus Detroit City FC coming up.
Our hearts go out to the family of Louis Zubia, who passed away yesterday. Louis was a longtime member of our game day security staff for Locomotive and Chihuahuas, as well as a 30-year member of the El Paso Fire Department. He was always quick to greet you with a warm smile and friendly hello. Louis could be seen working near the field every game, and his dedication, energy, and spirit will be greatly missed.
Southwest Chiropractic, serving El Paso area and relieving pain for more than 20 years. Not only do we treat auto, sports, and work-related injuries, but we also treat scoliosis, sciatica, back pain, disc injuries, chronic pain treatment, and we even manage stress. At Southwest Chiropractic, our patients are seen the same day. We provide gentle and effective care, and we accept most insurances. Schedule your appointment today and let us relieve your pain. With 3 convenient locations in El Paso, Southwest Chiropractic. Your health is our well-being. Call us today, 915-581-9619.
El Paso Locomotive is back in 2023 for more thrilling moments, more fun for the family, and more goals. Don't miss a moment of the action. Get your tickets now at eplocomotivefc.com. Vamos El Paso.
Welcome, a chilly evening greeting us here tonight. Looks like Detroit's brought a little bit of their weather. Duke Keith along with Colin Deaver with you at Southwest University Park as we take a look at tonight's starting lineups. First for Locomotive FC. And one of the things you notice about Locomotive with the starting lineups this evening is who's in, Lucho Solignac, and who's on the bench, Petar Petrovic.
Yeah, Lucho Solignac obviously hadn't had a chance to play until the second half of last week's game due to an injury suffered in the preseason. Same for Petar Petrovic. It's the first time we're going to see him in the lineup. Kind of expect him to come on maybe late in the second half, 75th minute, sometime around there, similar to what Lucho Solignac did on Wednesday for Locomotive FC.
For Detroit City FC under Trevor James, it is 0-1-0. Locomotive, of course, 0-2-0, as we've seen. Detroit City FC with Nate Steinwasser between the pipes. This is a guy who's been with Detroit City FC almost since its inception, it seems, the whole way through, making it all the way to second division soccer.
Yeah, native of Detroit as well, so he's playing for the hometown club. One of the best goalkeepers in all of USL last year, 3rd in save percentage, 4th in total saves, 13 clean sheets as well. Locomotive FC will have their hands full trying to beat him.
Under the lights tonight in El Paso, a breezy evening and a cool one in downtown El Paso, Texas. Not very sunny in the Sun City today. But as Locomotive gets ready to go, both of these teams looking for their first points of the season. Les Rouges not in anything resembling red tonight. Kind of teal-looking trunks with the white tops, sharp-looking away unis. The Locomotive FC going with that dark blue this evening.
I like the looks for both. I'm a University of Oregon graduate, so uniform connoisseur, dude. And I like this here that we have at Southwest University Park tonight.
Quite a contrast. Almost Miami Dolphins-esque.
A little bit, yeah.
Of course, Detroit City FC, this is a team that has truly been built from the ground up. Winning NISA championships back in the day, very much an independent and independently minded soccer team. Their fans, of course, the Northern Guard supporters, very well known, I think, around USL circles for the trouble they like to stir. Eighth Notch from El Paso, Texas. They like to get into it as well. So both of these fan groups with some very passionate fan bases.
And I think for Detroit, too, I mean, you start out, like you said, in the lower divisions of professional soccer in this country. Just moved up to the second division last year, already made the playoffs. So kind of paying off what their fans have done for them for the last 10 or so years as a club in United States soccer. So it's good. It's definitely good for them. It's good for the game for sure.
The early foul gives the possession to Locomotive, and it's a good pass to Aron Gomez. Gomez nicely done from Navarro to Calvillo. Calvillo has a go, and it's right at Steinwasser. An easy save for the big man. Let's take a look at our Casa Ford keys to the game tonight, Colin. What is Locomotive FC looking for?
Well, you saw a little bit of it right there, actually. Number one, set the tone. El Paso needs to come out and attack early and often. A dream scenario kind of escaped them last week, but it was a dream scenario for Colorado Springs, scoring in the second minute. There you see Eric Calvillo trying to go for goal there. Number two is eliminate mistakes. They have given up 3 goals this season. All of them have been more or less against the run of play on counterattacks, mistakes of their own. So you can't do that. That's the reason they are 0-2. And then managing the pressure. Again, 0-2, still looking for the first victory of the Brian Clairhout era. Everybody knows what is at stake here. Playing 3 matches in 7 days. It's very difficult, but you have to get a win here tonight.
Lucha making his first start for Locomotive FC. Second only in goals to the man who just released the ball, Aron Gomez. Good play out to Nick Hines. Back to Calvillo, the El Salvador international. Back and forth with Denis Kostishin. Locomotive's Ukrainian playmaker already making some waves in the early going. Trying to draw the foul there. Our referee tonight, Greg Dopka, says play on. Nice ball in. Steinwasser grabs that. Good thought from Mark Navarro as we bring in the third member of our team, Rachel Phillips, pitch side. Rachel.
Yeah, Duke, we got a really good insight into how Brian Clairhout is approaching every game and really the season as a whole after that loss on Wednesday. I asked him after the game if he regretted it all going for the win and if he wished in hindsight he would have just gone for the draw. He said, quote, if we don't go for a win at home in a Western Conference game, then we might as well not play the sport. He went on to say that it's just not in his nature to do something like that. And I know both he and the team are very excited and hungry for a win here tonight.
Thanks very much, Rachel. And of course, Detroit City trying to muck things up a little bit here in El Paso for Brian Clairhout. We see him on the touchline. Detroit City, it should be pointed out, missing a whole bunch of that attacking prowess. They didn't score too many goals, but a lot of the contributions from Antoine Hopino, kind of a playmaker. They're looking for folks to kind of break in. They're going to wind up with a good corner kick here The glance off of Nick Hines from Connor Rutz.
This Detroit City team scored 44 goals in 2022. That was the least of any team that made the playoffs in both the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference. They got it done defensively, allowing just 30 goals. This is the third fewest in USL. So they're going to pack it in tonight, rely on their fantastic goalkeeper. But eventually you will need to score some goals in this league, as Brian Clairhout has highlighted multiple times through the first couple of matches.
As we say, take a look at exactly what might have happened to Nick Hines. And seems to have shaken that one off nicely. Detroit with the first corner of the day. Set pieces, you might imagine, very important. Low drive, and Calvillo knocks it out. Maxi Rodriguez, I don't think, got the altitude he wanted. Driven back in to the far post. Back into the top of the six and lifted out by Liam Rose. Good piece of work, Stephen Carroll making the right move. Throw in here for Detroit City. Detroit with a good run of possession to start things off here tonight. They'll move the ball around. Trevor James does like to keep things ironed down. A man who has seen some of the very best of world football, and we'll get to his CV here in a little bit. Detroit working it around to the right wing. Again, trying to find the inlet. Connor Rutz, well defended. Rutz makes a nice move, gets the cross in, headed out by Yuba, the team captain.
And on Trevor James, 69, 25, and 16 in his career as the head coach at Detroit City FC. Been with him since 2019, but also been an assistant coach at the MLS level. LA Galaxy, Portland Timbers, also with Indy 11 in USL. Former Ipswich Town FC player as well, so has the track record as a player, no doubt.
Trying to make the moves here. Solid work by Reese Williams. Out for the header. An easy grab for Benny Diaz in the end. They wanted to give that back, but worked it around to the right wing. And Reese Williams really nowhere to go.
And we've discussed it on the previous broadcast this week, Duke, that Benny Diaz, again, given up 3 goals in the first 2 matches, but they've more or less not really been his fault, right? They've been counterattacks. They've been 2-on-1s. And he has made most of the plays that he's had to make. He's looked comfortable back there as well.
Liam Rose commits the foul, and another restart here for Detroit. But it's Trevor James's CV after he was a player and before he came to the United States, that's really something. Head scout for Bobby Robson at Barcelona, for the English national team. He has seen the very top of the game in Europe. From a very interesting perspective. Good cross. Well received. Reese Williams trying to knock it back. It'll come in and be knocked in off of Yuma's foot for an own goal. Sent in by Connor Rutz, and early joy for Detroit City. Motor City mayhem in the Sun City tonight. In the 9th minute of play, another early goal for Locomotive.
And another unfortunate circumstance there. Off the foot of your 37-year-old center defender as we get a look at the replay. Lots of deflections here. I mean, a good ball in regardless, but just takes an unfortunate bounce off of Yuma. And once again, 3rd match in a row, El Paso falls behind in the first half 1-0. 2nd match in a row, it comes in the first 10 minutes of play.
Rutz's 4th season with Les Rouges. It will be an own goal. There was no way that was headed to the back of the goal mouth before Yuma's touch, but just unfortunate. And Locomotive playing from behind again in the first half on home turf.
And they talked about this in the post game after Wednesday's game versus Colorado Springs, how allowing such an early goal can kind of change the entire landscape of the game.
Injured Detroit City FC player. We'll bring out the trainer. Collision with, looks like Aaron Gomez there. Let's send it down to Rachel Phillips pitch side for more on what Locomotive is going to be looking for tonight.
Yeah, Duke, Colin was just mentioning it, how that early goal in Wednesday's game really affected how everything went from then on. Claire Hart told us post-game on Wednesday that the team was really affected by that early goal the switchback scored, because not only did they have to come from behind in that game, but the pressure to get a win after losing the season opener started to mount even more. And now, 2 losses as well as down a goal here in this third game. He told us at halftime against the switchbacks, he simply said it is what it is. Use some Taylor Swift guidance and told them to shake it off and just go out and play the game, enjoy it, and stop forcing things. He gave the team a lot of credit to how they responded in the second half, and I think it's going to be key to see how they respond right here. And I'm sure the message, if you could get out there and talk to everyone, would be very similar. Shake it off, forget about it, let's just play our game and have some fun out there.
Liam Rose trying to get that restart after Detroit City. A pretty good spell of pressure here. Another turnover. Gomez dispossessed by Rutz. The injured player was Matt Lewis. He is back out on the pitch for Detroit City for that collision. Taylor Swift reference, my goodness.
She was in Phoenix last night. My girlfriend was there to see her.
You didn't go?
I didn't go. I was not invited to make the trip, unfortunately.
Oh, well.
So.
Gotcha.
I guess we can go see her in Arlington, though.
Okay.
Me and you.
Road trip.
We'll go. Just me and you, dude.
Let's do.
Boys trip to see T Swift. You brought up Matt Lewis. I want to say this. He was actually on loan with El Paso for 8 days 2 seasons ago from Detroit City. Never played in a match for Mark Lowry at the time squad, but he was here.
Kansas City, Missouri native. He played for the New York Cosmos of the NASL back in the day, and NISA. We should point that out.
Well-traveled is Matt Lewis, including here before, so he knows all the spots.
Good switch out to Liam Rose. Possession with a purpose. That's what Locomotive is looking for. So far, that has not been what we've seen. Here's Yuma. Calvillo. Bensei Pakovic over the top, looking for Lucho. Takes a glance. Aaron Gomez couldn't control. And in the end, well seen out. Detroit City under a bit of pressure. Solid handles by Maxi Rodriguez, Tommy McCabe. Castician will get a touch, but no control. It is breezy. You've seen the ball as it floats up, curl around a little bit.
Yeah, certainly a little bit more weather to deal with than they've had to in the first 2 matches here at Southwest University Park. Feels actually like a spring day as opposed to early summer in El Paso like it did on last Saturday and Wednesday.
True enough. Beautiful weather the last couple of games. And that's going to be a foul on Castician as he takes down Rodriguez. You talk about some of the missing pieces for Detroit. That includes guys like Antoine Hopino, really the playmaker. Very much the key that unlocked the offense for Detroit City throughout much of the season.
Yeah, they're missing 18 goals and 19 assists off last year's team. That's a lot from a team, again, that didn't score that many goals. To lose that amount of production is very difficult, and something that they're working on replacing for this year. That
includes Pato Botello Faz, who scored the goal versus Locomotive in that notable debut for the USL Championship on the Deuce, ESPN2. They're in Hamtramck, Michigan. Awaiting the whistle on the restart for Rodriguez. Far post and too far. Looking out of the back for Michael Bryant, who appreciates the effort, but that did not settle for him. It would have been trouble had it had.
Detroit's just looked like the more dangerous side here, obviously with the 1-0 lead on the own goal, but they've just flat out had more chances on this attack so far.
Fans oohing and eyeing with Chris Garcia's touch. He's another notable change in terms of the starting lineup. This will come out to Diaz, and Detroit City looking dangerous and speedy. And leading 1-0.
And this plays exactly into their hands. Kind of similar to what Sacramento did last Saturday. They want to get their goal and then defend, park the bus. At least that's what we saw them do at Detroit last year a lot.
I will say Detroit City has looked like they're still trying to be adventurous here in the early going, and they may be able to park things a little bit as the game has worn on, but I think that this fresh breeze probably feels like a nice May afternoon in Detroit.
I was going to say, you brought up they brought the weather with them, and maybe they brought their gameplay with them as well.
Knocked out of the back. Yes.
Yeah, Colin, just want to chime in there. You said it's a nice spring day. I don't know about spring. I'm down here. You guys are nice and warm up in that box up there, but definitely
We got
not
the window
spring
open.
down here.
We got the window open.
The window. I've got the entire air around me.
Of course, it is getting to be wintertime in Australia, is it not, Rachel? So this should be perfectly natural, correct?
This is colder than what our winter is, at least where I'm from.
Rachel down there with that nice toque, as the Canadians would say. Got a nice warm knit hat on. Cap.
Some people call that a toboggan, apparently.
I've heard that. Not lately.
No. I've
Not
always thought a
lately.
toboggan is like a sled.
Correct. Good bounce for Aaron Gomez. Gomez, that'll take a deflection. Kostishin scores! Denis Kostishin! A breakdown at the back, and Kostishin, the Ukrainian, evens the game in the 17th minute.
We were talking about the weather. That's how much this came out of nothing for Oklahoma, or for El Paso Locomotive FC. And how about that? The Ukrainian who walks out with the Ukrainian flag each match. They've got it down there in 8th notch as well. Gets to score his first goal for his new club.
A deflection, bounced right to him, and he knew what to do with it. No time to settle on the foot. First time off the noggin and in minute 17.
You talk about the response that El Paso needed. They got the equalizing goal on Wednesday, but it came in the second half. This one, finally, they take advantage of an early opportunity to get back even, and now it's game on.
Kostishin has impressed in each of the 2 prior matches he's played for Locomotive FC. Spent 85 minutes on the pitch. I think they wanted to bring him out a little earlier versus Sacramento Republic in the opener. They just weren't able to take him off, and he's showing you why. Good effort to slide it out to Calvillo from Lucho. And again, Kostishin, handled by Steinwasser.
May have had a little bit more time to perhaps take another touch, but hey, you just scored a goal. You're trying to get another one quickly. I don't mind it.
Set back down to pitch side, Rachel Phillips. I would imagine that has brightened the mood considerably.
Yeah, it certainly has. Look, the bench all very happy, hugging each other. Brian Clareheart, interesting enough, very cool, calm, and collected, just came over, shook the hands of the assistant coaches, and then back to the wall he is watching the game. You talk about Denis, though, and scoring that goal, and Colin mentioned walking out with the Ukrainian flag in all 3 games. Now, he told me it's to support his country and continue to spread awareness about the ongoing war with Russia. And Denis is just one of 2 Ukrainians in this Locomotive squad, the other being Artem Kolar. The duo are the only 2 Ukrainians playing in the USL, and Denis told us that Artem is a big reason why he's here. He said they played against each other one time in the Ukrainian Premier League, and he said when he was trying to decide where to play, he called Artem, who told him really great things about both the city and club, and that's really what he based his decision off, and I'm sure every Locomotive fan is thanking Artem right now for bringing Denis over here because of that equalizer.
Absolutely. Hopefully someone we get to see out on the pitch soon enough for Locomotive FC. But good to see that Locomotive response in the first half of play. Calvillo. Detroit City a little more on its heels. Bence Pakovic over the top from Kostishin. Can he get there? He will, but Detroit City has things well covered.
Just a fantastic overlapping run there from Bence Pakovic.
Well, they've talked about this. It's almost like the old Dutch total football. They want guys to overlap, be out of position. If you've got someone to cover on the backside, we'll see that a lot up the wings.
Yeah, and you'll see Calvillo and Liam Rhodes in the midfield even drop back sometimes to aid Yuma or Pakovic in those positions. Obviously, Mark Navarro will get up that right sideline very nicely for El Paso.
Out to Rutz. Connor Rutz sees his way through, but it'll bounce Liam Rose's way. Rachel's countryman down there, Liam Rose. Had given up on soccer and just trying to continue to play in a factory job and decided, you know what? Why am I not playing soccer professionally?
I can't blame him.
I would think so. Good work by Detroit and over the top of the bar. Well worked, but not able to settle for Tommy McCabe. South Orange, New Jersey, coming over from Orange County SC, a former teammate of Eric Calvillo, winning the championship a couple of seasons ago.
He was also drafted in the MLS in 2019, so certainly his talent's highly thought of in American soccer.
Lucho. Navarro keeps it in. Nice cross. Nobody in dark blue on the other side. Roll over for the goal kick. Mark Navarro, Spaniard with Premier League and La Liga experience into the Espanol system. Of course, Watford in the United Kingdom.
He was really good in Wednesday's game versus Colorado Springs with those kind of runs, foraying up the right-hand side, sending crosses inside. Another one right there, too. And that's what they want from him. If he can get a couple more in there, get some assists this year.
Detroit City ready to work it around. Navarro's pointedly a friend of Hector Bellerin, former Arsenal, now with Sporting Lisbon. Arsenal player, I should point out. He's not an Arsenal himself. That would be something.
He might be.
Well, he was well thought of enough by Arsenal that they thought they were going to get to see him, I guess, in the European Championship or Euro League, but that did not work out. He was not in the lineup. I think he had a slight injury.
Arsenal, one of the obviously preeminent Premier League clubs. I would arguably rather live in Lisbon, though. I think he might be getting the better end of the deal there.
Yeah, well, Lisbon, London.
Talk about cold weather. Rachel couldn't live in London. I don't know I could live in London.
Well, we are definitely acclimated here in the Sun City.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Gone soft is what I call it, dude.
My friend Colin Deaver, a native of Colorado. My daughter lives in Thornton these days, and I'm always surprised by how late the snows come up there. Incredible.
March is normal, you know. I think actually it's the biggest snow month, at least historically.
Good grief. Well, that's fine. Let it melt and roll on down this way. Nice ball out of the back from Hines. Looking for Lucho. Takes a spill, and Steinwasser's going to be called for the foul. It will be on the edge of the area. It was outside of the box as adjudged by Greg Dobka, our referee. But Steinwasser knew he was in trouble if he let Lucho loose. Call that a professional foul.
I mean, you're right. He had to make the foul. Fortunate that it is where it was, because it's incredibly close to being in the area.
Right on the edge of the line, but you can tell in the replay, right on the edge of the line, but outside of the 18.
This will be Calvillo and Navarro talking about it. Both of them took free kicks on Wednesday.
Well, Mark Navarro and Eric Calvillo, both very solid on set pieces. And Navarro, an opportunity here perhaps to curl one in with that right foot. He'll try it, and it's off the wall for a corner kick. Why not? That's the worst that could happen.
It's 100% of the shots you don't take, so
exactly.
Take a look at it, and then you get a corner kick out of it, which is the next best thing.
It'll be Kostishin to deliver the service. Left footer, looking to be an outswinging ball. Sent in, headed out of trouble by Detroit. Only so far as Hines. They'll work it around. Kostishin lofting one to the far post that's knocked up in the air by Calvillo. Lucho trying to get there. Comes for Garcia. He tries his luck. We'll do it in from the same spot.
Right place, right time there for Chris Garcia to just kind of have the ball fall at his feet. And again, another good rip-it goal for Locomotive, as dangerous as they've looked all season right now.
Garcia, former Real Salt Lake player. That was locked in again, and that is handled this time by Steinwasser. Good header up by Michael Bryant to make sure his goalkeeper had an opportunity to run underneath. Garcia, the native of El Paso, spent a long time in the Real Salt Lake Academy. This Kostishin, it's turned over cheaply by Detroit. Kostishin, first time ball. Here's Garcia again, rolls one. Steinwasser pushes it out, another corner kick coming.
We talked about El Paso needing to eliminate their mistakes in the open, Duke. This is Detroit having this same mistakes that we've seen from Locomotive FC in the first couple of games. El Paso hasn't taken complete advantage yet with another goal, but they, again, looking very dangerous, another great shot.
It just seems to me, with the run that Locomotive has had over these last few minutes, and as a matter of fact, Brian Clairhout's talked about it, that goal to give you confidence. We're seeing it now, right into the middle, headed and backing out. They tried to find Navarro. Liam Rose tries to send one through, handled by Detroit City and cleared away by Rodriguez. And it truly seems like that's just what Locomotive needed, that little bit of belief. And we're seeing the confidence right now as Locomotive grows into the game.
And Dennis Kostishin talked about it on Wednesday after the game, how that second half, the first 30 minutes of it were really strong. They were on the front foot. They were pressing well, very high. And it was really the last 15 minutes where they ran out of gas when they gave up that last-minute winning goal from Colorado Springs. But they're getting going earlier tonight.
Kostishin trying to find Garcia, who gives him a thumbs up, as do the Locomotive fans. Eighth notch in full voice. Standing, I imagine it feels good to stand up and bounce around tonight.
On a chilly spring night like this, certainly so. I guess technically it is still winter, right?
It is technically still winter. And Nick Hines again, he is hurting. This is something he suffered on Wednesday evening. That left wrist area, and of course, you don't use your hands in soccer, but no small amount of discomfort.
Anything, if you go to ground and put your wrist out to catch yourself, can re-aggravate it.
Then you can see he's got it wrapped up. So obviously contacted around the same spot that has been troubling him. But you don't need the wing in this game. Knocked down. Hines and Pakovich covering, making sure Richard Ballard had nowhere to go. Ballard coming over from the Miami FC, native of Louisville, Kentucky. His first season in Detroit.
He played college ball with Dylan Maris at Indiana. Of course, Dylan, former midfielder here in El Paso. They'll see him next week when they play Louisville City.
Dealing with some injury issues from what we hear, Dylan Maris, but I'm sure we'll be happy to see some of his old teammates. Corner kick coming up, though, for Detroit. Sent in by Rodriguez and bounced out. I see you there to cover that near post. That's a good turn, though, by Ballard. Throw it out to the left wing. High skying ball to the far post and just a little wide. No oomph behind it. It's offside anyway. Connor Rutz. Pakovic, the Hungarian. Good slide by Liam Rose. Prevents the breakdown, and Rose, with some help from Lucho, win that back, however briefly. Rose commits the foul. Down to the pitch, looks to be Ballard. The Pobrecito chant erupting from section 105.
Get one or two of those a game at least.
Greg Dopka having a word with the Australian. And once again, Maxi Rodriguez on the restart. Not a bit of rouge or gold on these unis, but they are sharp. As we head toward the 32nd minute, even up. Far post. Knocked back in and down and over the bar. Golden opportunity, great with 3 touches in the box, but Michael Bryant skies it.
Locomotive very fortunate there to not go down 2-1. And Duke, I think that's a situation of what we've discussed with Detroit kind of struggling to score goals a season ago. That's one that they need to put in the back of the net there. And as they build into their season, finding that quality in the final third, much like Locomotive is still trying to find it as well, is something they'll have to build into.
Skagay Simonsen, the Norwegian, had that last pass off the head. Well, we've talked about the road that Detroit City has taken just to get to the championship. Let's send it back down to Rachel Phillips for more on Detroit City's journey. This is a club that's been around. This is what, their 11th season of play? They've been around since 2012, Rach.
Yeah, Duke, when they got promoted to the USL just last year, Detroit took a lot of their roster with them, and last year they made it all the way to the quarterfinals with a real underdog mentality. Defender Michael Bryant says the experience of last season is helpful in understanding the level of the game and the quickness, and said even though they made it to the playoffs last season, they're going in with a very similar mentality. They don't think they're hot stuff and still have something to prove and want to keep making a name for themselves in this league.
Well, they dot their I's and cross their T's in Detroit. Trevor James makes sure of that. They've got the right man for the job. Of course, Keyworth Stadium brings its own atmosphere. Here's Kostitian let loose again, and he'll let one fly. He didn't miss by much, but he does miss. Goal kick coming up. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit SelectSportAmerica.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice.
Kostitian had Chris Garcia running up that flank. Obviously, it ended up giving it to him. He may have been offsides anyways, but he was there.
Kostitian will roll into space here for Gomez. Paso's all-time leading goal scorer, on loan for 3 seasons before he finally came to be a permanent part. That's crossed in. And right on the porch was Chris Garcia. He was 2 feet off the back line.
And another great ball in from Mark Navarro as well.
He is ostensibly a right back, but we've talked about it before, those overlapping runs, and we we are seeing it used to pretty solid effect here in the first half of play.
Right, he has the pace and the athleticism to do that, and also get back as quickly as he needs to into his defensive position.
And of course, the quality to deliver amazing crosses.
He's going to end up, I think, with at least 8 or 9 assists this year. They're going to finally start hammering some of those home.
Lucho with a nice touch to Garcia. Excellent back heel. That'll spring Kostishin. The Ukrainian bearing down, rolls one to the Argentine. Lucho, far post, headed back in, and Gomez trying to find Garcia. It'll be nodded out for a Locomotive throw. Keeps the ball moving to Hines. Garcia into space for Hines. Low cross, driven. Lucho off the bar. Settled by Navarro. Chipped up. Navarro kind of a half-hearted claim for handball, but well taken defensively. And here's Detroit, the man who got that deflection. Back up the wing. Rose with a dead-on tackle, and he had to be perfect there, but was indeed.
Just unfortunate there for El Paso. Lucho Soloniak, I think, puts that home 7 times, 8 times out of 10, but that time off the crossbar. And that's how close it is for El Paso. Instead of being at 2-1, it's still knotted at 1 here in the 36th minute. But again, so many chances for El Paso in the last 10 to 15, maybe 20 or so minutes that you got to think at some point they're going to push one of these chances home.
Reese Williams, well done for Detroit City. He's the one who got the block on Navarro's cross and then sprinted up that left wing for Detroit to put the pressure on before that man's picture-perfect tackle. Again, though, here comes Locomotive. Navarro, another low drive, and another great deflection by Williams. On the ball here and forward. Yuma. Locomotive FC really starting to control things here in the latter stages of this first half of play, and with largely the same lineup that they've used in both of the other matches, with some, of course, notable exceptions. Lucho up front along with Chris Garcia. What are your thoughts on this so far?
Well, I think those two guys that you just pointed out, Garcia came on at halftime of the Colorado Springs game and was really strong.
Great ball up, great thought, one Spaniard to another. Yuma to, of course, Mark Navarro.
Yeah, but Garcia was, I mean, highlighted by Brian Clairhout multiple times in the post-game press conference, saying that it was the right decision to bring him on. Obviously, Lucho Soloniak, nearly the winner in the 88th, 89th minute, just creeping wide of the post. But I think you're seeing this at least early in the season, the lineup that they have out there currently is probably their most dangerous, and it's the one that we've seen for the most part the last 90 minutes or so of play.
I will say, especially on that left, Chris Garcia has done an outstanding job. They're also finding joy in getting the ball to Navarro, who's finding a little more open space up that right wing to do what I think Locomotive has wanted him to do the entire time. Here's Pakovic, will win a throw, or did it bounce off of Pakovic? That's the case. Well, as you might imagine, that has gone over. This is going to be a corner kick. We'll head down to Rachel here very shortly, but another corner for Detroit City. It did bounce off of Pakovic over the back line. Maxi Rodriguez has been the man to deliver service on set pieces. And they have certainly looked dangerous on those set pieces so far tonight. Driving, in-swinging ball, and that's knocked out. Navarro making sure they can go far. But back comes Detroit. The shot saved by the US. The nice drive off of McCabe. Kostishin trying to catch Steinwasser off his line, and that went nowhere where the Ukrainian wanted it to. But it has been back and forth and physical up and down the flanks. Rachel Phillips, talk to us more about that physicality. We'll get back down to Rachel. Oh, there we go.
Duke, sorry about that. Physicality is something Claire Hart wants in his team, saying, yeah, it's great to have the beauty, but we need some beast too. And Calvillo said they've really taken that on board and described them as a warrior team. He said they were always intense last year, but now there's more of a bite to it, and he specifically himself is going in with the mentality of having no fear and doing whatever he needs to do to win the ball, and you're kind of seeing that from all of the players on this Locomotive roster.
Up to Lucho, slips. No whistle, a foul, and Lucho says it wasn't me, it was the turf monster. See Rodriguez taken down.
And this is now a portion of the match, last 5 minutes of a half. Ricardo Zacharias talking on Wednesday after that match how they have to be better in the first 5 minutes of halves and the last 5 minutes of halves. You can't give up a goal, and that's really where all of the goals that they've allowed have been either in the first 5 or the last 5 of a half.
Yuma, according to our referee Greg Dopka, applying some of the dark arts there in the center of the pitch. Who, me?
Yeah, I love it. He's never committed a foul.
No.
Ever in his life.
No defender ever does. Skagay Simonson winning the free kick. The only man thrown out of a preseason friendly.
It was against
but
New
it was
Mexico,
never
though.
friendly. It's never friendly versus New Mexico United. Here's Rodriguez. High lofted ball that's touched back in. Well, attended to. It's going to be. Well, Hines is calling for a handball on the deflection. He's not going to get it. Another corner coming. Detroit City, it's amazing. On set pieces, 2-3 touches inside the area every time. And you can see that danger. Rodriguez again from the right side. Outswinging. Yuma. Trying to settle as Garcia. Wins the ball versus Rodriguez. But not too much further. Ballard to bring it back. Ballard. Nicely done. Again, Yuma in front of that. Cycled around to the far side. In front this time, Navarro. That's a great stabbing save on Stephen Carroll. And here comes Locomotive against the run of play. It'll bounce to Kostitian again. Kostitian, right place, settles one through. Trying to get there in time is Lucho. Steinwasser picks it up off the turf. Rose taken down, play on. Good job by Rodriguez to just plow through. Hard and heavy Detroit. Keeping it in play, Simonson. The Norwegian. In for the header, it's too far wide. But well worked, and upset that he wasn't able to put more on it is Yazid Matthews.
That was some up and down play there. El Paso with some great defending, great deflections on multiple shots and crosses in, and then all of a sudden, out of nothing, you get a counterattack that nearly ends in a goal for El Paso. Back we come the other way for Detroit again. These last 5 minutes of a half, so important for both sides. Both of them nearly getting a goal late.
Calvillo sprung by a nice ball from Garcia, but well dealt with. At the back by Detroit, headed forward. Simonson gets wide by Hines, trying to recover. He does. Ball out of the back to find Kostitian.
He's a magician there tonight.
The back heel flicks to find some open space. The man who runs USL Tactics, our buddy John, is saying that he thinks he's going to be all league this year. John Morrissey.
I would trust John's opinion over most people's when it comes to USL soccer.
That guy keeps track of everybody. I'm just amazed at the fact that he's got actual video evidence from every match that night. Nice ball over the top. Lucho cannot find the touch.
A little bit more direct play here from Locomotive, as we've talked about in the first two matches, that this is something they want to do. But it seems like to Duke tonight, they've done a little bit more of that, of pushing the ball forward with longer balls.
Bring more cold weather. Locomotive fans could deal. That's what it's going to bring out of the team. Very uncharacteristic east wind, and it is picked up as the first half is worn on. Usually blows out of the southwest here in El Paso. That's going to be a foul. Navarro whistled for the contact. Reese Williams. 1 minute of stoppage time is what we are hearing from the touchline. Reese Williams last played with Stumptown AC, Western Florida native. He's had some flashes tonight too for Detroit City. Simonson whipped out by Hines for the throw. Striker, that's Rutz. The serenade continues from section 105. Good cut back here under pressure. Ballard will receive it back. Take on Rose, and not enough contact to warrant a stoppage. Costishan. Aaron Gomez. That is a foul, I believe, or it will be a throw. But I saw the assistant referee wave his flag, which is usually an indicator of a foul. The throw-in is the call, and it'll be Navarro with that lanky frame to put it back into play, the Spaniard. And that is going to do it for half number one. Even strength. One apiece after 45 minutes of action. Locomotive FC on the head of that man, Dennis Costishan, getting back on track for the first time in the first half this season. They're partying in section 105. Will the party continue for the second half? We'll find out. Stick around.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
The new 2023s are dropping in.
And the sky's the limit when you shop at Casa Nissan.
We've got a great selection to choose from,
so you can find your perfect Nissan.
Lease a new Murano for just $289 a month. Or get 0% APR financing on a new Nissan Altima, Rogue, or Pathfinder. Land a great deal at Casa Nissan.
How I drive in the 915.
Home of the nice guys. Yeah!
El Paso Locomotive is back in 2023 for more thrilling moments, more fun for the family, and more goals. Don't miss a moment of the action. Get your tickets now at eplocomotivefc.com. Vamos El Paso.
Southwest Chiropractic, serving El Paso area and relieving pain for more than 20 years. Not only do we treat auto, sports, and work-related injuries, but we also treat scoliosis, sciatica, back pain, disc injuries, chronic pain treatment, and we even manage stress. At Southwest Chiropractic, our patients are seen the same day. We provide gentle and effective care, and we accept most insurances. Schedule your appointment today and let us relieve your pain. With 3 convenient locations in El Paso, Southwest Chiropractic. Your health is our well-being. Call us today, 915-581-9619.
Welcome. A little bit of behind the scenes, the inside the behind of the true El Paso Locomotive story. Duke Keith along with Colin Deaver as you get a look at our messy booth tonight. Locomotive and Detroit City notched at 1 apiece here at Southwest University Park. And you might notice our headgear, of course, the beautiful 5th anniversary Sugar Skull cap look. You got the flat bill. You got the curved bill with the,
You got the dad hat is what you got on.
Yes, I do. I got the dad hat, which is appropriate, I guess. But these are very, very nice. And, of course, these are the giveaways and, of course, available for you at the Locomotive Team Shop. So we take a look at Locomotive storylines. The championship season, once again on ESPN+. Every match from the regular season and the playoffs for the USL Championship is on ESPN+. And, of course, they've got those great select matches on ESPN2 as well. And Saturday, Locomotive's next match will be 1 week from tonight. First road match versus Louisville City FC. That's going to be 1 p.m. Don't forget the watch party. The Union Draft House, that's on Sunland Park Drive. So the Union Draft House Sunland is where Locomotive FC will have its official watch party. That is 1 p.m. versus Louisville City. And Locomotive Team Shop, where you can find these great Sugar Skull caps and a whole lot more. That's some specialty stuff. The Locomotive gear in stock now. You see Colin, the back of Colin's head. There's a nice logo right there. Very nice. You're looking sharp, buddy.
The back of my head is ridiculous. Shout out Mad TV from like 2008.
Oh, that's outstanding.
2006?
Wow. Ridiculous. Very nice. That is awesome. Locomotive FC and Detroit City FC tied at 1. We'll be back with more madness as we continue after this.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
For over 75 years, we've witnessed moments that will last forever. Records and trophies, firsts and onlys, game-changing innovations. From the heroes we admire to the joy of watching them play. Our history defines us, inspires us, and pushes us into the future. Celebrating 75 years of changing the game. Puma. Forever faster.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
Look at our brand new control booth here at Southwest University Park. Detroit City FC, El Paso Locomotive FC, tied at 1 at the break. I believe that's Cesar and Ozzy working the booths in there. Some buddies of ours. David Concha. And Cesar, of course, probably screwing everything up. Ozzy doing a great job. Just kidding, guys. Love you, Cesar. Mwah. All right, let's get to the first half highlights. And here it is for Locomotive. Their lone goal, Dennis Castician, the header, really out of nothing. We were talking about the weather right about the moment that he scored this goal, but coming into the box off the cross, the deflected cross here from Aaron Gomez, heading it past the goalkeeper. Had to have it to not the matchup at 1 apiece. Of course, Detroit City getting their goal off an own goal from Yuma in the 9th minute. So as we stand here with about 8 minutes, 7.5 minutes to go in halftime here from Southwest University Park, El Paso and Detroit City FC tied at 1 apiece. 3 points on the line in the next 45 minutes after this.
We asked El Paso, why do they shop at Casa Ford?
Great selection.
Great service.
Great prices.
And the number one answer? 3 generations serving El Paso. And now check out this great deal.
Get 0% financing plus $1,000 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150 XLT.
Everyone's a winner when you shop Casa Ford.
Home of the nice guys. Yeah!
El Paso Locomotive is back in 2023 for more thrilling moments, more fun for the family, and more goals. Don't miss a moment of the action. Get your tickets now at eplocomotivefc.com. Vamos El Paso.
The new 2023s are dropping in.
And the sky's the limit when you shop at Casa Nissan.
We've got a great selection to choose from.
So you can find your perfect Nissan.
Lease a new Murano for just $289 a month. Or get 0% APR financing on a new Nissan Altima, Rogue, or Pathfinder. Land a great deal at Casa Nissan.
How I drive in the 915.
Home of the nice guys. Yeah!
Welcome, everybody, back to downtown El Paso, Texas, the beautiful restored Plaza Hotel, home to Elizabeth Taylor back in the day. Tied at 1 apiece, Locomotive FC and Detroit City FC, when she was married to Nikki Hilton, I believe. As that was, I believe, the first Hilton high-rise. Let's take a look at the first half stats from what has been an adventurous game so far, 1 apiece, and it has been up and down. The total shots, pretty much even. Shots on target. Locomotive has actually had a few more than Detroit, which is amazing because Detroit's set pieces have been pretty solid in the first half, Colin.
They've been fantastic, but like you said, only 1 shot on target. Their goal coming off of an El Paso own goal by Yuma in the 9th minute. So really, I thought you saw El Paso take control of that half in the last 25 minutes or so. Easily could have 1 or 2 more goals than they actually do. So we'll see if they're able to push forward a winner in the second half.
The leaders of the USL Championship in passing accuracy, right back up top, 88% in the first half. More coming with highlights and plenty else as we continue here from El Paso, Texas, tied at 1. Locomotive FC and Detroit City FC.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
The new 2023s are dropping in.
And the sky's the limit when you shop at Casa Nissan.
We've got a great selection to choose from.
So you can find your perfect Nissan.
Lease a new Murano for just $289 a month. Or get 0% APR financing on a new Nissan Altima, Rogue, or Pathfinder. Land a great deal at Casa Nissan.
How I drive in the 915.
Home of the nice guys. Yeah!
and relieving pain for more than 20 years. Not only do we treat auto, sports, and work-related injuries, but we also treat scoliosis, sciatica, back pain, disc injuries, chronic pain treatment, and we even manage stress. At Southwest Chiropractic, our patients are seen the same day. We provide gentle and effective care, and we accept most insurances. Schedule your appointment today and let us relieve your pain. With 3 convenient locations in El Paso, Southwest Chiropractic. Your health is our well-being. Call us today, 915-581-9619.
Welcome back to downtown El Paso. Tied at 1, Locomotive FC, Detroit City FC. Duke, Keith, Colin Deaver with you. We'll send it down to Rachel Phillips here in a little bit, but let's take a look at the first half highlights. You want to talk about end-to-end. What an entertaining match it's been. Calvillo, the early drive. Steinwasser, an easy save in the end for Detroit. Chipped far to the far post. An easy grab for Benedias on the return there. Nicely done. Gets it down to Connor Rutz, and there's the own goal off of Yuma. Not a whole lot he knew about it, but Connor Rutz drives it across and deflects off the Spaniard. But Locomotive would start coming. And Dennis Castician with the equalizer, the deflected cross, and he has been solid tonight, Colin.
I think this is his best match so far in 3 for El Paso. Just his forays forward. He's getting other people involved. The direct balls that he's had that have set up a couple of great chances, and of course the goal.
Let's send it down to Rachel Phillips for more on Locomotive's halftime and second half adjustments. What are we hearing, Rachel? All right. We'll send it down to Rachel here in a little bit and hear more about what Brian Clairhout might have in store for us. We are hearing that there will be a substitution for Locomotive, and Nick Hines, as we saw, injured with that left paw, which is already under wraps, and they're going to bring on Eder Borelli for the first time this season, Colin. That is sad that it's a Nick Hines adjustment because he's been solid all evening long.
Yeah, and in the first 3 matches as well, he's been fantastic for El Paso, but a good chance to see Eder Borelli for the first time this season. Been a key contributor for Locomotive FC for a long time, right? Since 2020, he's been key on that back line for El Paso. We'll see what he can do tonight in his first action in these final 45 minutes.
A Mexican native out of Monterrey seeing his first action, and we'll get down to Rachel as we get ready to start the second half here. Garcia will have first touch as Locomotive heads towards section 105 for the second half, just the way they like it. Will Locomotive have its first multi-goal game of the season? Detroit City, though, looking very, very dangerous. Over the top. Diaz will let that one roll over the back line. Are we ready for Rachel? Let's send it down to Rachel Phillips on pitch side for those second half adjustments. Rachel, what are we looking for?
Yeah, Duke, as you mentioned, Eder Borelli onto the pitch now for Nick Hines. He was pretty much warming up from the second that the team went into the locker room, going through those warm-up drills, obviously trying to get warm because it is just so cold out here on this Saturday evening. Another point to note is that we would expect Petar Petrovic to come in at some point throughout this game, probably around the same time Lucho came in last game, and don't expect Lucho to play through the full 90 minutes. Obviously, he's still just getting back to match fitness, so he probably will come off at some point in this second half. But really for the Locos, the key right now is just to keep doing what they're doing and don't get frustrated by the fact that no goals have gone in. Just keep working it and eventually it will come. Also on defense, just need to stay strong and not give away balls too easily like what we have seen in these previous 2 games.
Thanks very much, Rachel. 5th corner of the night coming for Detroit City FC. They'll take it from the other side. Reese Williams doing a great job of seeing his way through the Locomotive pressure. And another set-piece opportunity for a team that has shown itself to be very dangerous. Seems like at least 2 touches every time they get a ball into the box. Rodriguez. Low drive, lifted out by Yuma. Cycled back in. Navarro with a touch. Off of Tommy McCabe's cross, and Locomotive on the break. Garcia. Pulls up. Wants to send it across. No foul here.
I think they played the advantage too.
Borelli. Great work by Rodriguez. Although his ball up will bounce straight to Benny Diaz.
And we've talked about those first 5 minutes just setting the tone for El Paso. Right now it's Detroit City in this first 5 minutes kind of exerting its will to open the the second 45 minutes of this match.
Borelli will come in with the throw. Good sliding tackle by Matt Lewis on Aaron Gomez. Detroit City loves to be physical. They certainly can be. Scoring their first goal of the season, it should be pointed out, although it was an own goal. They'll take it, certainly.
The scoreline does not care it gets to 1-1. But it's the point is a good one. Detroit still has not scored a goal of its own in the 2023 season.
Good switch by Simonson to find Williams. Into the middle for Ballard. Good cut back by Rodriguez, plays it into space. There's the cross and the chip and an easy handle by Diaz. Yazid Matthews again. Connor Rutz found his man in from the right side, but Rutz wasn't able to put any sting behind that. Easy enough for the Los Angelino. Benny Diaz on loan from Tijuana. Liga MX. Crossing it by Borelli and bounces over, and everybody was a little surprised at where that went. The wind is having an effect on what both teams are trying to do tonight.
It seems to have picked up even since halftime, right? It's blown into our booth a little bit more than it was in the first half.
Yeah, that's right. Rachel, we're cold. We're really, really cold up here. I don't think Rachel's having any.
Rachel doesn't want to speak with us.
No.
Friendship is over.
Yuma works it around to Borelli. Garcia's going to win it back. Great work by the El Paso, and enforces the blast out for the throw-in by Matt Lewis.
I've been so impressed by Chris Garcia the last two matches.
He's going to win it back again. That pass a bit behind Aaron Gomez. Chipped up the way by McCabe. Over by Calvillo. Stolen away from Castician. Well done in the middle of the park. I think that's Simonson still down. Strike it, that's Williams. Decent spell of possession here for the visitors. Searching ball on the back from Stephen Carroll. Williams from Simonson. Cross, skipping ball, taken by the US. The quick outlet to Garcia, and why not? Aaron Gomez, Lucho ahead of him. Garcia from the middle will take a will have a go. And an easy grab in the end for Steinwasser, came right to it.
You see the pace, though, that Chris Garcia possesses, and how about the outlet from Benny Diaz to really start that break and get El Paso going on the counterattack? Nearly led to a goal.
This time Dennis Castician on the right wing, coming down that way as well. So just something, you know, I think that the teammates, it's still early enough in the season where everybody's getting on the same page with everybody else.
Right, they're still figuring out who likes to get the ball in what spots. Maybe you're doing a little bit more, you're trying to compete for a little bit of playing time and show the coaching staff why you deserve it, and maybe you miss somebody as a result of that. But I think that won't get cleaned up. And we've already started to see that improve over the course of the first three matches.
Well, and credit to Chris Garcia. He saw things open up with Aaron Gomez and Lucho making that run ahead of him. They had to respect the runs that those two guys were making. Chris Garcia thought, you know what? Why not? Good keep here by Garcia to Aaron Gomez. Out of the back, looking for Lucho. It's Castician trying to get there, but great intervention by Detroit City to push it out for a throw. Michael Bryant. Good takeaway. Reese Williams, Castician trying to get it back, and he whistled for the foul. So we send it down to Rachel Phillips for more on the El Pasoan signing with his hometown club this season. Rachel?
Yeah, Duke, I remember when he came to the team last season under John Hutchinson. Hutchinson told me he actually reminded him a lot of Diego Luna, which is kind of ironic because Diego Luna obviously went to Real Salt Lake, which is where Garcia came from. But he said not only in his attitude and his hunger and his fight to always get to the ball, but also in his footwork and just how fancy he is with it. And watching him out here making some of those runs, it is not dissimilar to Diego Luna.
I agree with you, Colin. I think that Castician's had a great game, and Garcia too. That's probably the best we've seen from them so far this early season.
Be interesting to see if either of them are subbed out. Obviously, Garcia came on at halftime of the last game. Castician was subbed out late on Wednesday. I would imagine maybe they try to freshen up his legs, but again, they don't play for another week either. So if they need him to go for a goal late, perhaps they stay in.
Trying to go over the top to Ballard. They weren't able to make the connection. That will be a foul. Whistled on DCFC. Zeke Matthews whistled for the foul. And then Borelli with a couple of early touches. My apologies. But here's a guy who really has a connection, especially with the pair of locals up front.
Yeah, and so that's something to watch. And obviously, they work out together in the offseason, Lucho and Adair Borelli. We may not be seeing Lucho in the match for much longer, as he was expected to maybe play until the 60-minute mark or so. But if they can maybe connect on one to show off that chemistry that they built in the offseason here in the next 5 minutes, it would be good for Locomotive, no doubt.
Takes a run at Steinwasser. He's scored a couple of goals like that before. We've seen that.
Certainly have.
It's a foul. Chris Garcia, we're hearing, is about to make his exit. Should get a nice round of applause from the fans. He has put in a shift tonight. Ricardo Zacarias, ready, willing, and able to take his place. The Las Cruces scoring the first goal of the season. It was a good keep by Simonson. Through the pressure, now in from the right side. Again, it's Rutz. Up top and blasted out by Calvillo. Before Rodriguez can get there. And again, Locomotive. Garcia's taken down. No, play on. All ball, says the referee, to the chagrin of Eighth Notch and the Locomotive crowd. Matt Lewis had to be right there.
Brian Clairhout not happy about that, though, on the Locomotive sideline, gesturing multiple times as he turned his back to his coaching staff, too.
Lucho continues to run at the back. Stephen Carroll. Borelli. Garcia to Calvillo. Lucho. Nicely done, Lucho. Into the box. Garcia deflected. Good bit of defending from Stephen Carroll once again. Scramble. That's going to be a foul. Liam Rose taken down by Yazid Matthews.
Rose staying down on the turf, but the work rate from him and Chris Garcia there, really 15 seconds apart, was impressive to see. And it results in a free kick for Locomotive from a pretty dangerous area.
And a yellow card for Yazid Matthews here in minute 57. Zacarias about ready to come on here in replacement of Chris Garcia. Might we see some set-piece magic from Locomotive FC, Colin?
It's going to be Calvillo and Novato going to be standing over the ball. Maybe Castician as well for a shot here. And how about Chris Garcia tonight? Just been absolutely fantastic. Those runs forward. And it'll give way to Ricardo Zacarias, who Duke, of course, just said a second ago, scored the first goal of the season for El Paso on Wednesday. Now looking for potentially a winner tonight.
It is far out. The wind whipping across. I don't know if they'll go for goal here. 24 yards, 25 yards off the byline. But Navarro and Kostishin. It'll be Navarro over the wall, deflected and out for a corner.
Certainly going for goal there was Mark Navarro. Second time we've seen him do that tonight, with it resulting in a corner kick for Locomotive.
His expression never changes. You don't see any looks of disgust or happiness or joy. It's the same.
He's seen a lot in his career, no doubt.
Kostishin with an in-swinging ball. Off the left foot to the far post and touched by Steinwasser. He just got a piece of that. Pakovic on the far side, and that'll be ripped wide. The wind gets a piece, but it doesn't stay in. Borelli tried to loft one over, but the wind caught it, and out it goes.
Somebody had been at that far post there. Even if Steinwasser got the little fingertip on it, that may have been a good thing for El Paso, but nobody home.
Pakovic, the Hungarian, in the general vicinity. Touch along the right wing there for Matt Lewis. Dias making sure that goes nowhere near Simonson. Skage Simonson from Grimstad, Norway, played at Loudoun United. First season in the Rouge and Gold. Played at St. John's University.
Also SMU, 19 goals in his college career.
Great program. In the middle, Ballard. Yazid Matthews just wide. Had to go.
Probably the best chance that they've had in this second half thus far.
Big South African. Certainly that target forward that you love seeing, the guy that makes you feel good when you send a cross in.
Definitely a big target. Also played college soccer here stateside. Was successful at Coastal Carolina.
Tommy McCabe makes the contact. Here's Detroit City, and in it goes for the lead. Yazid Matthews. Detroit City FC as the clock strikes minute 61. It's in to make it 2-1 for DCFC. Matthews all alone on the right, could walk in and place it where he wanted it.
Their first goal that they've scored themselves this season, and it's off of a dispossession near midfield, counter-attack, and then Matthews going to be open inside the 18 and slot it home past Benny Diaz. Once again, a goal coming out of a mistake by El Paso Locomotive FC.
And it was a forceful turnover. Detroit City certainly flexing its muscle in the middle of the park. Wins the ball back. Yazid Matthews has given Detroit City its first goal, not scored by the other team.
And we saw this when Zacharias came on a second ago, but now a bit of a three-striker look for Locomotive with Zacharias, Lucho, and Aaron Gomez.
Aaron Gomez trying to receive that, but well done again. Matt Lewis has kept it down. Here's Zacharias. Aaron Gomez has a go. That deflects. Tommy McCabe in front of it. Good cut back by Kostishin. Navarro lofts a nice cross and headed down. Lucho trying to get there. Bounces up and pushed aside by Matt Lewis.
Tough place for Lucho to be. Just couldn't get a head, a boot, a thigh, anything on it, just based on where the ball landed.
Matthews and Yuma tangling. That allows Benny Diaz to head that back up the pitch. Locomotive right back at it. That'll be a foul. Navarro playing in the middle of the park draws the contact. Spaniard not easily pushed off the ball, but takes a seat. Costician. Navarro has it go. That's deflected, and certainly feeling the worst effects of that is Yazid Matthews. Locomotive throw, making sure Matthews is okay.
Cold night like this, it's not going to feel any better either. It's not going to feel good when it's 100 degrees, but when it's 50,
it's even worse. Heated skin in a hurry. Try to work something. Navarro and Liam Rose. Picked away by Simonson. Navarro. Calvillo. Locomotive pressed again to look for answers. Another 2 goals allowed by Locomotive FC.
This is where we talked about at the Open, Duke, managing pressure. There's a lot more pressure on them now, even than there was 5 minutes ago after giving up the goal. You cannot lose 3 straight matches to open the season.
Calvillo flips it out. Borelli gets a touch, but it doesn't go where he wants it. William Rose, and the touch deserts Costician. Throw in for Detroit City. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023. Catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN Plus, the home of the USL. Major League Soccer, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Aron Gomez, Borelli. Service into the box. Headed back out of trouble again. Tommy McCabe, or Matt Lewis that time. Simonson. Offside flag is up. Gomez. Zacarias. Off of Zacarias, they say. Matt Lewis has put in a shift, the big man from Kansas City, Missouri. Yuma.
Duke, we're already 5 minutes past what we thought Lucho Solignac would kind of be the extent of what he's played, and here we go.
And Lucho Solignac, can he get there? Lucho touched wide and in for a throw. Out for a throw off of Stephen Carroll. Certainly desperate times call for desperate measures.
I was going to say, interesting to see if maybe that decision was made just recently since Detroit got the go-ahead goal.
That pass is off target. Blasted away by Reese Williams. Borelli. Lucho. Flag is up. Send it down to Rachel Phillips on coming back again and again and again. How do you do that mentally and emotionally? Rachel Phillips, more pitch side.
Yeah, Duke, well, Colin just mentioned it, the pressure certainly mounting now for the El Paso Locomotive, and that pressure is only going to get harder as this game goes on, because you've got to remember, yes, they've got the pressure of trying to win their first game and not go 3 losses in a row, which is how they started last season, actually 4 losses to start the season, something they want to avoid here. But on top of that, they're running off tired legs, and they're much tireder than Detroit's here. Locomotive, only team in the entirety of the USL to be playing 3 games in the space of a week, and the first week, might I add, of the USL Championship. And on top of that, you might be thinking, well, you know, Detroit, they had to fly from San Diego back to Detroit, back to this part of the country, but that's actually not the case. Detroit City actually decided to leave San Diego and just go to another area in California and spend the week there and train there to save 2 extra days of travel, which is what it would have taken to get from San Diego back to Detroit, back to this side of the country. So a smart move by them, and they certainly have fresher legs to end out this game.
Trevor James, that's a veteran move by a guy who probably knows a little bit about air travel.
No doubt about it.
Scout.
No doubt about it. You see that in the NFL sometimes.
Navarro lofted in, trying to find Lucho. Is upset there that he didn't get to him, but Matt Lewis is there. Now to Lucho again. Lucho gets wide, throws it across. That was a great reaction. Just nobody in blue the other end of it. One back. Great work by Borelli. Gomez. Rose lofted back for the Australian. It's Calvillo who keeps it under control. Good job by the El Salvador International. Navarro trying to get loose. He'll knock one through. Has to be covered by Steinwasser, but he does.
Get into his left foot was Navarro. Now looks like he is down on the turf as well.
Well, that is not a great sign. Navarro spending roughly a year and a half out of the game because of a leg injury. And has dealt with that. There's a couple of shovelovers there as they'll have a nod to the dock. Ricardo Ruiz, Andres Rivera on to take a look at the Spaniard, who seems to be moving his leg well enough, but I would imagine that is probably going to be it for Mark Navarro.
Maybe they're rubbing out his calf, maybe a cramp, and now looking at the ankle as well. Don't want to speculate too much, but
no, and he doesn't seem to be, well, he seems to be in some pain, but it doesn't look severe. You never know. And apparently it's going to be Miles Lyons on for Mark Navarro, who is hobbling but under his own steam, and that's good to see. Miles Lyons, young man of the Barcelona Residency Academy, just 20 years of age, will come on to replace the La Liga and Premier League veteran, Mark Navarro.
Miles maybe having to get ready a little faster than he was expecting to. Still has the sweats on. Jersey wasn't yet coming on either. But nope, there comes Navarro back on.
He's going to fight through it, and that's great to see. Just took a knock and probably, you know, here's a guy who's, I would imagine, knows his own body, doesn't want to let anything happen to it with the route he's had to take just to get back here after a year and a half out of the game.
He knows what a serious injury feels like. And, you know, they don't want to, they'll never push anything too far, especially with a player coming off of an injury like Mark Navarro had, but they'll also trust him to make his own decision. Like you said, he knows his own body.
Michael Bryant draws the contact from Zacarias. Detroit City. And here's where you imagine Detroit City can kind of set up shop. We'll loft one forward. For Locomotive FC. Trying to make those adjustments on the fly. And we're about to see, my understanding, Petar Petrovic coming on for Denis Kostishin. So Petrovic, he's an ethnic Serb, but of course is a Swede by nationality, and gave Brian Claerhaut fits when he was a technical director and head coach.
Right,
for some outfits in Sweden.
He had to play against them so many times. He was sick of having to deal with them, so he said, why don't you come join the dark side? Come with me to El Paso Locomotive FC, and we'll see what we can do together. And obviously missed the first couple of matches with an injury, but now we're getting to see what he can do in his first action as El Paso once again chasing an equalizing goal with 20 minutes to play.
Well, Mark Navarro still hobbling as he makes his way around the pitch. Miles Lyons is on. And Denis Kostishin coming on here in minute 72. He'll come off to follow his Spanish teammate off the pitch. Petar Petrovic on for the first time this season. A man we understand has worked very well up the left wing, quite an understanding with Nick Hines throughout some of the preseason action. Of course, Hines already off for Eder Borelli. What connection might those two have in store for us?
Petrovic was a guy that was talked up all preseason for the work he did and how he can be a key member of the attack for El Paso. So this is the first chance we'll get to see what he can do. Again, in a crucial point of the game for them, too.
Foul whistled on El Paso. Gives us an opportunity to tell you that Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship, many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit SelectSportAmerica.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. On the restart, Detroit City. Over the byline, Simonson can't control. Yuma. Borelli to Rose. Petrovic. Pakovic. And Calvillo. Then say Pakovic. So wonderful to have an actual center back as part of your back line.
Certainly much needed, too. As we've talked on previous broadcasts, Andrew Fox did a good job for a few seasons in that role, but to have a guy, like you said, who's naturally been able to do it at a high level is so nice.
He's crossing in here. Lions with the cross. It's a flicked header from Lucho, and it's just wide. Not out, though. Actually, it'll roll out, and it'll be a goal kick. Petrovic not able to run it down. Lions. It's a great cross from the young man. That's the head you want, Lucho.
Lions, again, hasn't played a whole lot in his time here with Locomotive until this season. Been impressed with him at each time that he has come on for El Paso, whether it's fours into the box like that, crosses in. He has played a role, certainly, for them, and they've needed him to.
Earning Brian Clairhout's accolades during preseason work. Miles Lions out of Tucson, Arizona. Of course, that Barca Residency Academy has provided a lot of fireworks as far as professionals and young professionals. This is well won here. Detroit. Good job by Lions to see that out, but not all the way out. The scissor kick try does not go for Reese Williams. It was an interesting thought. Williams had pulled it off, that would have been sensational. Lions. Calvillo. Zacarias. Las Cruces, the first goal scorer, as we pointed out, for Locomotive. Here is Petrovic. Nice moves. Petrovic lost a handle on it. Connor Rutz with the Swede stride for stride. Petrovic from the middle. Facilitated. Rose. Aaron Gomez. That left foot thrown in, but right on it was Ballard.
Aaron's name is not one that we've been able to call too much tonight.
Good drive here. Pakovic. It's an excellent thought, just wouldn't settle for him. Off the half volley over the bar. Into the 77th minute, Locomotive forced to come from behind again.
Something that Brian Clairhout talked about on Wednesday of, you have a home match, you're trailing later. I guess in Wednesday's circumstances, you're tied. And the idea of going for the winner here, they have to go for a draw. Again, you cannot fall to 0-3 to open the season. Even with the fact that it is a very difficult stretch of play to start the season, 3 straight games in 7 days, you got to get at least a point out of that.
Locomotive trying, but not able to find a way forward, and Detroit City has really handled its business. As we've pointed out, this is a team that will and can see things out. Talked about one of the top 3 defensive outfits last season, and they're very first in the championship, making it all the way to the playoffs. It's not about what they have scored, it's about what they didn't let in. Detroit City's very good at that.
And this is that portion of the game where you will see teams park the bus, so to say.
Sure.
And they are
They've got
excellent at doing it.
Exactly. 2-1, but still here in the attacking third. Here's Williams. Nice cross. Headed but not out of trouble. Ballard in for 3. That's Maxi Rodriguez. It falls right to him, and Maxi Rodriguez has given the visitors all the joy on a cold, blustery night in El Paso.
Just a classy finish there from Maxi Rodriguez, the leading goal scorer a season ago for Detroit City FC. And here, as we see this one, falls to him and just slots it past Benny Diaz. Caught him leaning a little bit. And now you need 2 goals if you're El Paso to even secure a point.
Maxi Rodriguez. San Antonio, Texas, take a bow. Rachel Phillips with more from Locomotive's perspective. Can't imagine things are very happy down on Brian Clairhout's bench right now.
Yeah, Duke, tense is probably the word I would use down here. Clairhout picked up a bottle of Gatorade, took 1 sip, and then sprayed the rest of it on the ground. Knocked over a chair, picked it back up, sat back down calmly, but definitely a lot of frustration from his end. And as Colin was mentioning, you can only imagine it's because he knows 3 games to start the season, walking away with no points is not how he wanted to start this season or his campaign with the El Paso Locomotive. But as it stands right now, that is looking like how it will go down.
And then Borelli whistled for dissent, gets the caution as we hit the 80th minute. Felt that he was fouled before. The foul then whistled against him. And he had something to say to referee Greg Dobka, who was very firm in the issuance of that yellow card.
He certainly was. And I think Adair Borelli actually had a case. You know, you get knocked to the ground, you're trying to make a play here. Obviously, you can't play on the ground, but yeah, I think he had a case. And
I think it was a handball. So if that first one wasn't a foul, I think that Greg Dobka figured he thought he saw the Mexican touch the ball on the way back up. And Ed Borelli, former team captain for Locomotive's sister team, FC Juarez Bravos at one point, and has worn the captain's armband a time or 2 here for Locomotive. His first action of the season, and whistled for the caution in the 80th minute. Tupakovic. Lions. Nowhere to go inside. Back heel from Lucho. Liam Rose whistled for the foul. As he takes down Simonson. Skage Simonson. Well, Trevor James has got to love the way his team has responded, especially going down or, well, being even after Locomotive got the equalizer. Here in half number 2, they have seen their way through this game, and their physicality, I think, not matched by Locomotive FC tonight.
no, not at least in the last 20, 30 minutes. There was a point where El Paso in that first half was actually, in my opinion, the better side, but Detroit has completely taken control here in the second half and done what they wanted to do.
Good job by Lucho and Zacarias to sort that out. That's forward. Blasted away by Steinwasser. Zacarias bearing down. Had a good escort by Stephen Carroll and Matt Lewis, though. Did Nate Steinwasser. 8-year veteran for Detroit City. Here's a guy who's been with them just about every step of the way.
Golden Glove winner a couple of times as well.
The Black Arrow winner from last season. I imagine that is the team MVP. I'm going to assume that.
Voted on by the fans, I believe, as well, at least a portion of it.
Great honor. That's it in by Rutz. Easy grab for the US. But time is running out. 8 minutes plus stoppage time.
And again, you're seeing Lucho Solignac still in the match. We were again told that He was only expected to play 45 minutes, 60 minutes. We're now in the 83rd minute. Lucho's still out there with El Paso chasing 2 goals now. I would have to imagine that may be part of why.
Here's Lyons. He'll zip one in. That'll be lofted out, and the Locomotive will have a corner. On the spot, Stephen Carroll. And it will be Petar Petrovic to do the honors.
Been told he's good at free kick, set pieces, the like, so first opportunity to see it in person.
Right footer would denote an outswinging kick. Into the middle, firmly won by Stephen Carroll. To Petrovic, he'll try it again. That's knocked in, far corner and just wide. Great job by Eric Calvillo just to get ahead to it. We've got a substitution coming for Locomotive FC. Chapa Herrera coming on to replace Liam Rose. And gets a great round of applause, as does Rose on his exit. Chapa Herrera, what a road back for that young man, the El Pasoan, who showed up at an open tryout and just never left.
Absolutely, been here now 5 seasons. Missed a good portion of last year after tearing his ACL versus Sacramento, and made his return to the pitch last Saturday versus Sacramento. Of course, the same team that he was injured against. Got a massive round of applause in that match. He said it almost brought tears to his eyes hearing the crowd cheer the way they did for him.
Good work by Reese Williams. Got a shot blocked by Gomez. There's Ballard. Too far for Williams. Substitutions as well now for Detroit City. Simonson's night is done. He'll be replaced by Dominic Gasso. Gasso, a Detroit City FC Academy player. Also making his exit is Richard Ballard. Replacing him will be Adrian Billhart. Billhart, the German, won a championship with South Georgia Tormenta in League One last year.
No doubt, defensive-minded changes here for Detroit City, leading by 2 goals with about 5 minutes left in regular time. Just want to see this one out here. Don't want to get too cute, just from their perspective.
Maxi Rodriguez makes it 3-1. Here's Calvillo. Chapa Herrera, first touches of the match. Calvillo slots one through, trying to fight. It was deflected. Great thought to get it to Lucho. Controlled though by Petrovic. Aaron Gomez. Gomez nowhere to go. Back to Calvillo. Booted wide. Borelli with a cross. Detroit City holds its shape well. Yazid Matthews. We'll go down to Rachel Phillips as Detroit wins a throw. Detroit City, you know, from the very beginning, they have been a part of the Detroit community in every way they possibly can. Of course, playing there in Hamtramck, which is just out of downtown Detroit. But active in the community, not just in Detroit, but for all of that Michigan area. Rachel Phillips has a little more on the way they have been involved in the community and their response to a tragedy recently.
Yeah, Duke, that's exactly right. Following the tragic mass shooting at Michigan State, the men's soccer team and Detroit City played a friendly like they often do in the preseason, but Detroit City made sure to make it more than just about the soccer. The entire team donned green and white jerseys, not dissimilar to what you see them wearing right here tonight, and auctioned them off to help those who were affected by the shooting. Just a really great initiative from the club, and honestly, you know, when you look at both of these clubs, they are both incredibly connected with their communities, and that's a big reason why we saw the game that they played last season air on ESPN.
There's a reason they were first, both of them. Great chest trap by Lucho, but can't control. Bouncing around, it'll be headed over for a corner kick. Carlos Zacarias bearing down, but Michael Bryant makes sure to issue it over the byline. Of course, Locomotive FC with the tragedy in 2019, with its own responses to those terrible events here in El Paso, Texas, some 3.5 years ago. Here's Petrovic to the far post. Knocked down. Floated in. Trying to take his shot was Eder Borelli, and it's blocked out. Detroit City.
Of course, El Paso brought up the August 3rd shooting with the response by Locomotive FC, of course, bringing the EP Fusion soccer team, those girls to the game that day. They were commemorative flags. Quite the night to be at the stadium, and you know it just speaks, both of those. It speaks to the impact that soccer specifically can have on communities, not just in this country but all over the world too.
Well, and the connection, especially for these USL Championship squads. You talk about the NFL and Major League Baseball and NHL and so forth. These are a little closer to the ground, these clubs. We've seen it. We've seen it here in El Paso, Detroit City, and certainly their fans have seen it in Detroit. Well, getting to the 89th minute now. I have often wondered, with that classic Journey song, Don't Stop Believin', where they talk about the young man raised in South Detroit. That's Hamilton, Ontario. There is no South Detroit. Like downtown Detroit's right on the international boundary. Kind of the weird twist of the river and the bay and the way things move there. But that's Canada, technically speaking.
Geography lessons. Late night on a Saturday with Duke Keith. I didn't know that.
Well, and now you do.
I will never forget that either.
That was an NBC special, wasn't it? The more you know.
El Paso just trying to throw some bodies forward here to make it a little bit more interesting here in the closing minutes.
Chapa now lifted in. Pakovic not able to find a connection. Yuma. Back again to Borelli. Now up to Petrovic. Natural left wing roll to Lucho. Lucho coming wide will earn the foul. Well done by the Argentine. I would imagine with the work that Matt Lewis has put in on that right side defensively. Good to see that Lucho Solignac has been able to last the full 90, first of all. His second match anyway. Coming on as a substitute versus Colorado Springs Wednesday, but still ready to run.
Yeah, good sign that he'll be ready to go next week for Louisville as well, regardless of the outcome of this match.
It will be Petrovic with the service. And it will be 4 minutes of stoppage time. Well, that Journey song said it all. Don't stop believing, but Locomotive up against it. Far post and a stinging ball, but Steinwasser makes sure it goes nowhere other than underneath him.
Ken said when Petrovic came on that he is fantastic at free kicks. That was a great ball in, but it's Steinwasser equally as good to the challenge there to make the play when in a spot where he really had to, because if El Paso's able to find the back of the net on that free kick, suddenly, like you said, don't stop believing, they have a little bit of life here late.
Borelli. Zacharias brought down. Fans want the penalty, but they won't get one. It has been a physical match, but that physicality is just what the doctor ordered for Detroit City FC. That's the way they like to play.
And it allowed 30 goals all of last season.
It's amazing.
Third best in the league. Again, didn't score that many. That's an area they were worried about coming into the year, but 3 of them tonight, albeit one of them an own goal for El Paso.
Of course, these two teams played to a 1-1 draw last season in that inaugural ESPN2 match, USL Championship. Valvanis Chapa. Taken down at the center circle. The German Bill Hart called for the foul. That'll be knocked out. Rodriguez. Lucho will be called for the foul. Yazid Matthews and Maxi Rodriguez, the goal scorers here tonight in the second half. It looked like a pretty solid start for Locomotive, but Matthews in the 60th minute, with about 90 seconds remaining of stoppage time, looking like the visitors are on their way to their first win, and Locomotive still looking for answers.
And remember the latter portion of the first half, so many really solid chances at goal for El Paso, and I think some of those looming large right now. It sounds so simple when Brian Claret says it. They just have to score more goals. Again, easier said than done, and that's been the issue for him.
Bakovic, that's knotted down, and that'll be a goal kick. They say not touched by Matt Lewis as it came through. I think Lewis saw the trajectory, saw no one in blue on the other side of it, decided to just let it ride.
And they're happy to waste as much time as possible at this point.
Absolutely.
40 seconds or so left in stoppage time.
Someone against the wind, Steinwasher. Lucho launches himself, and that'll be a foul. Lucho showing his frustration against Matt Lewis. And that is going to be it. 3-1 your final score, Detroit City FC over Locomotive FC. And Detroit with their first win, Locomotive falling to 0-3 to start this 2023 season. On a cold, blustery evening in El Paso. Trevor James shaking hands with the Locomotive coaching staff. We'll be back to wrap things up here in a bit from El Paso, Texas. Stick around.
El Paso Locomotive is back in 2023 for more thrilling moments, more fun for the family, and more goals. Don't miss a moment of the action. Get your tickets now at eplocomotivefc.com. Vamos El Paso.
The new 2023s are dropping in.
And the sky's the limit when you shop at Casa Nissan.
We've got a great selection to choose from,
so you can find your perfect Nissan.
Lease a new Murano for just $289 a month. Or get 0% APR financing on a new Nissan Altima, Rogue, or Pathfinder. Land a great deal at Casa Nissan.
How I drive in the 915.
Home of the nice guys. Yeah!
Welcome back. 3-1 your final score, Detroit City FC over Locomotive FC. The own goal started the scoring. Locomotive equalizes, but 2 in the second half. And off the foot of Yazid Matthews and Maxi Rodriguez. Duke Keith, Colin Deaver here with you as we move into the next match. The Brian Bird's home selling team bringing us that on the road with a week to rest, Colin.
Yeah, that's the good news for El Paso, right? 3 matches in 7 days to open the season. Didn't go the way that they wanted to do, 3 straight losses. And now you have to go on the road with your backs against the wall against the Louisville City team that played for the USL Championship last season, lost it to San Antonio. So we'll see very quickly what these guys are made of on the road. They got to go get a win.
Louisville City FC, and don't forget the watch party at Union Draft House, Sunland Park. That's going to be at 1 p.m. 1 week from tonight, or 1 week from this after, 1 week from today. We'll just say that. And let's wrap things up tonight. Our thanks again to all of the team that helps us out. Our executive producer, Juan Gutierrez, the director, Cesar Ruiz. For Colin, for Rachel, I'm Duke. The final score again tonight, Detroit City FC 3, Locomotive FC 1. We'll see you in April.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.